Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the U.S. It is 1717 Zulu on July 23rd, 2024, and this is Tuesdays with DX Engineering. This is a show where we typically have on DX Engineering sales and technical team folks that are talking to you on the phone and talking to you via email and text. And today we're very excited to have one of our newest team members. It's Allan, W2WJ. Hello, Allan.
Well, hello, Tim. Thanks for having me. It's quite an honor.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. And it's even better to have you as a part of the DX Engineering team. How has it been so far working here at DX Engineering?
Oh, it's been fabulous. It's been more than I expected, all in a very positive way. Everybody's been fantastic, and the customers have been even more fantastic. So it's an honor.
You know, Allan, I'm glad you brought that up. We have some unbelievable customers. They're really dedicated to DX engineering and really appreciate the expertise that the sales team brings. And so let's talk about your history in ham radio. How long have you had a license?
Well, I was first licensed in late 63, early 64. We'll call it 1964. I started in high school. Of course, I got my novice license. Less than a year later, I advanced to general. That was 65. And then in 1968, I became an extra. And I've changed call signs a few times, but I've had the extra license ever since. There's really been no layoff in activity. I've pretty much been active since I was a high schooler, obviously with much better gear today than back then, but it was fun back then too.
Oh, it sure was. Now, let's talk about your shack there. And you've got a really nice shack. Let's talk about the radios that you have in your shack.
Well, I used to run almost all tube gear back in the 90s living in Texas. Today I've got all modern gear. The FT710 is my flagship. Uh, The Asus 710 is just unbelievable. Sitting next to it is an unbelievable ICOM 7300. On top of the 710 is an Elecraft KX3, also fantastic. Don't forget that DX Engineering does sell the amplifier and some of the accessories, though not the Elecraft rigs themselves. And next to that is my Flex 1500, also sold by DX Engineering, but not the rigs.
Right, right. So you've got a lot of radios to choose from. And so, what bands and modes do you like?
Well, I would say living in this part of the country, and one of the reasons I came back here to Ohio was to hear all the great signals at night. 40 meters is my favorite, the strongest signals considering my antenna, which is just an end fed wire. Do not believe that they don't work because they work quite well. And I hear S9, 10 over 9, 20 over 9, 75 meters. The band's signals are often even stronger than that. 20 meters down somewhat, not running a big rotary antenna, but still I get very good results. 17 probably my overall favorite band, and yes, I operate FT8 on 40, 20, 17, and 15.
Oh, that's great. Lots of good QSOs available on the digital um, area of the bands. And let's talk about the equipment that is right behind you, Allan. What do you have back there?
Right behind me, right there, is my Ameritron AL811. It's not the four tube version, it's the three tube. I run it maybe 30–40% of the time. Generally, I'm barefoot. On top of that is my Dentron Super Tuner, one of the best tuners ever made, and then a Daiwa SWR power meter, which is in line with all my gear. Next to that is some of my Drake line, which was very popular in the 60s and 70s. That's a TR4, not the C. But on top of that is my R4C with all the advanced Sherwood modifications that I was very lucky to find. And I do have a T4XC, the matching transmitter, and I've got a 10 Tech Paragon, among other 10 Techs. Someday maybe I'll find an Orion. Maybe someday.
Well, it sounds like you have enough gear for a museum, but what I'm getting from the gear that is frontline today, your flagship equipment, and from the past, is that you have got a lot of experience in this hobby.
Well, I do. I certainly don't want to brag, but it's mostly just time. I've been involved with it for so long. Um, I was living in Houston, Texas for several years in the 90s, and I was able to go to a lot of big Texas ham fests and buy a lot of stuff I've always dreamed about. Happiest day in my life was setting up my S line. Probably even happier than that, though, is setting up the FT710. Um, I absolutely feel that the new gear is considerably better. Virtually, there's no comparison. The flavor for the gear is different. The new stuff is certainly different than the S lines and the Drakes and the Heathkits and all the stuff that I used to run. Uh, but today's performance, DSP, you may knock it until you try it. And then you won't knock it anymore
Well,
at all.
and knowing how to adjust the DSP is really, really important. I know a lot of guys struggle when they get beyond just the basic functions, and they say, "Well, what's this automatic noise reduction? What's this audio peak filter? What's passband tuning?" And you've been through it. You've been through radios that didn't have those features. Now they do, and teaching guys how to operate the radios of today is a real art, Allan.
Yes, it is. And what I tell my friends from high school, who I'm still in contact with, some of them anyway, is that the performance of today's rigs, the 710, the DX10, the ICOM 7300, and the bigger rigs, this is the stuff that we dreamed about in high school. I mean, we literally dreamed about it. Here's a filter. Let's narrow it. Oh, it has skirts, so I still hear stuff to the side. Well, today's DSP doesn't have skirts. It really cuts the stuff off. I mean, it
It,
really cuts it off. Imagine an analog rig built with perfect resistors, perfect capacitors, nothing leaks, there's no blow by. That's what DSP engineering is. That's what it is.
it's really, really good. And I think you're pointing out that we live in a very impressive time
Huh.
for technology and for this hobby, and that is really, really good, Allan. Allan, let me check the chat room here to see who we have. We've got Don down in Philadelphia, Whiskey Juliet 3 United. From Mexico, it's X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu.
Oh,
Costa Rica, Tango India 5 Victor Mike Juliet is on with us today. And Drew, Kilo Delta 8 Charlie Mike November. He's on. He's a certified nerd, and we love that. Eric, Echo Lima 2 Echo Fox from
wow.
Liberia. You're going to get DXCC here, Allan.
Seems that way.
We got Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's W5 Juliet, Charlie Sierra, our good friend Jim down there, and our good friend from also from Kentucky, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike. Hello and good afternoon, Tim and Allan. Congratulations, Allan, on being part of the DXE gang. I see a piece of Drake gear peeking out from behind you, and I think we're all jealous you've got that nice Drake gear back there, the R4C and the TR4. And hello, everyone. It's Rob, Kilo Bravo 6 Juliet Fox Lima. And then we have David, November 2 Oscar Alpha. He's on holiday up in Ontario. And Rodney is on Kilo Juliet 5 Fox Whiskey Charlie in the DFW area of Texas. Well, Allan, thanks so much for coming on today. Thanks for being a part of the DX engineering team. And we look forward to hearing stories from customers about how W2WJ helped out.
I can't really imagine being anywhere else. This has been a highlight, and I've been around for a while, working with DX engineering crew and in the store. Uh, I could have never expected this to be as enjoyable 20 years ago, but it is today.
It is today. And It's great that you're able to take care of our customers from home. And we do hope to see you in person here soon at one of our events coming up too. But thanks so much for joining the team. And the team here at DX Engineering continues to grow. We continue to have some of the best amateur radio operators in the US that join this team and help DX Engineering customers every day of the week, and getting on the phones, getting on email, getting on text, and doing whatever it takes to help you have more fun with the best hobby in the world.
All
Until
I can
next
say,
time,
all I can say is nothing gives me more satisfaction than helping someone out. What kind of an antenna? What kind of rig? Is my power supply big enough? Yeah, I mean, call and write, do whatever you need to do.
that sounds great. Allan, thanks so much. And thanks to all of you for watching today. Until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.
Thank you, Tim.